study. You're also here. This is a list of things that everyone would love to have. This is why we work. This is why we do everything. There are a list of materials here. Listen carefully. Why do we study? Why do we toil? Why do we work? Because we want to achieve the following. Number one, somebody listen. The first thing that everyone wants to achieve is health and preservation of life. Everyone, as you study, you want to have money to manage your health crisis when you grow up. You want to study and have money so that you can preserve your life. Number two, you want to study, you're doing everything, working so that you can get food to eat. Boys at school, we throw posho. We throw the little food that we are given. We think, this is very easy to get posho. I don't eat posho. But people outside struggle to get even the little to eat. So people toil, people work so that they can get what to eat, and that is food. Some people work so that they can get the third thing. What is the third thing? Sleep. There's a difference between sleeping and there's a difference between dozing. Some of you enter your houses and you do not sleep, you doze the whole night. Dozing is not comfortable. Sleeping is comfortable. Some of you, when you sleep, you wake up when you are very tired, yet sleep is supposed to make you wake up when you're healthy and refreshed. How am I saying people work to get sleep? People work to afford where to sleep and it is comfortable. People study so that in the future they can afford where to sleep. People study to get number 5. Number 5 is money. Somebody say money. Somebody say pesa. Somebody say chente. Somebody say sente. Mafaranga. Dollars. People work so that they can get money. This is very crucial, number 6. Everyone works. Everyone works. Everyone toils. Everyone studies so that they can plan for the life after here. I repeat. Everyone works to plan for the life hereafter. What do I mean by that? After you die, where will you be? You're in chapel today because you're planning for your life hereafter. We the Christians believe hereafter, where do we go? We go to heaven. We the Muslims believe hereafter, we go to a place known as Jannah. Other religions, Buddhism, they believe after death, you get reincarnated. Reincarnation is the same as rebirth. According to their belief, if you are someone who lived a righteous life, you get reborn in form of another person who is better than you. If you die and you are doing terrible things, you get reborn as an animal. You get reborn as someone in a poorer state. So everyone here is working for the life after. Number 7. This one I'm talking to some boy here. Boys get a lot of rejection in life. Tell a girl, hello, good morning. I was thinking, I've been seeing you, and then they shut you, excuse me. Then they drop the most hurting thing you've ever had. I don't talk to broke people. Then they add another painful one. Perhaps you are even dark-skinned. They add another one. Perhaps you are very short. Now listen. Any boy who has experienced rejection, any girl who has experienced rejection, most girls nowadays have courage to approach boys. You get rejection. When someone gets rejected, they work twice as hard as they could have ever in order to achieve the next thing. That is number 7, sexual gratification. This man wants to work, he gets his money, he gets everything he can get so that he can show the girl that I am now better. Boys, are you understanding? This girl wants to work, get money, look good, to show to this man that I am now what? Better. Sexual gratification. Number 8 that everyone looks for. The next thing, let's look here, that everyone looks for. This one is for someone who is planning for their future. If you're not planning for your future, you may not plan for this. What is a successful future in Africa? A successful future in Africa is a future where you have a family, and the family is living a successful life. A family where your children go to school. A family where your children have everything they need. I can't lie to you, I grew in a family which was moderate. Not rich, not poor. But in my lifetime, I tested poverty and I also tested money. There's a period when dad had money, there's a period when he had no money. But majority of the time, we were in the middle. People work for the next thing. Only for people who plan for their future. And that is the well-being of their family. Is someone hearing me? People work for the well-being of their families. Every teacher here, every worker here, even you who are planning, you're working for the well-being of your family. You want a family where people can eat everything they can get. There's a difference between eating what you want and eating what is available. Most families don't have a choice. You reach home and mom has cooked what is there, you have to eat. But then some families, there is choice making. You choose whether you want it or not. Some families, they ask you in the morning, what would you love to eat? And then there's a family where they say, today you go and work, you will come back, whatever the Lord has provided is what we are eating. There are two different families. But everyone works to make sure their family is well preserved. So the well-being of the family is what everyone also works for. Next is the most important. Everyone here, whether you are a pastor, whether you are somebody, whether you are a student, everyone works so that they get the feeling of importance. Someone has not heard me. Everyone works to get the feeling of what? Importance. You want to feel important in life. As you walk, do people give you value? When you look at Pastor Jesse, he's one of the smartest chaplains around. Let us say amen. I don't know how he makes it, but he's always gentle 24/7. I'm sure you can wake him up in the night and he's very smart. What is importance? Somebody come back here. Importance is an ability to impress other people. I'm sure very many people here are planning to grow up faster and start to live a life like Pastor Jesse. Very many people are planning to start living life like our church elders seated there. Many people are planning to start living life like the head teacher because she has reached a level of importance. Everyone here wants to be important. What makes someone important? There are three things that make someone important. Number 1 is knowledge stroke wisdom. Somebody look here. Number 1 is knowledge stroke wisdom. I will not ask you the difference between knowledge and wisdom. It will consume time. But when you get time in the afternoon, we shall talk about it. What makes you important? Number 1 is knowledge and wisdom. Number 2, it goes back to what everyone works for. That is money. If you have money, you are always important. You're always what? With wisdom and money, automatically you get the third thing. And what is the third thing? Power. Somebody say power. When you have money and you have wisdom, stroke knowledge, automatically you get power. One thing that you almost all do not have is power right now. The school can decide that you go home tomorrow and you have to obey. They have power you don't have. We study, we do everything to gain importance. That's the most thing that everyone looks for. Even a pastor who is already an ordained pastor still wants to become more important. How? They want to work and do very much work for God, and other people can suggest them to get into higher positions. That is power. Being in higher position where you have more control over people is power. Everyone works for the 8 things And then what the less important one is importance. Everyone wants to feel important. What makes you important? Wisdom, number one. Money, and lastly what? Power. Ecclesiastes was written by a philosopher. Somebody's not listening. I did my research about who is a philosopher. A philosopher is someone who doesn't base on rumors. Someone who does clear research, thorough research about something. And they come and give you detailed information with the facts about something. One of the greatest MPs in Uganda is called Odonga Oto. Since I'm talking about the northern people, he's one of the greatest MPs in the north. He is a political philosopher. What does that mean? He has studied politics to the deepest root and he knows much about politics. There are Greek philosophers when you are doing theology. They teach you about some of them. Those who do history, some people you read about were Greek philosophers, meaning they had full information about the Greek culture. In most cases, philosophers are attached to something they know in details. But when you start reading Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 1, it tells you that the person who wrote this book is called the son of King David. And who is the son of King David? King Solomon. One of the wisest people to have ever lived in this world. Let's analyze King Solomon. This translation calls it the teacher. Good News calls it philosopher. These are words of the teacher, son of David. King in where? Record has it he was the wisest man, among the wisest men, the wisest man to ever live in this world. Very wise. Look at the next thing. He was a what? A king. Can you have a king who doesn't have money? The Baganda. Your kingdom is one of the richest in Uganda. It is the richest. Let's not say one of the richest. Your kingdom is the richest in Uganda. Anybody in the position of a king has money. What does that mean? King Solomon had wisdom, number one. What else did King Solomon have? Money. What do you think the next one is? He was the king, meaning he had what? Power. He could do anything because he had all the three. One of the greatest judgments ever seen in the Bible is King Solomon judging between the two mothers fighting for a baby. That showed he was very wise. King Solomon was wise. He had money. He had power. Everything that you're looking for. Girls, some of you will marry because of power. You want a man in a position of power. Very few girls reject men in power because they also want to feel what? Important. When they're introduced, I am Muchala so and so. They feel important by associating someone with what? Power. King Solomon had it all. Let's talk about women. Those men, there are men here who value importance by women. King Solomon could access any woman he wanted. Whichever thing you value importance as, King Solomon had it. But what did King Solomon write? King Solomon wrote and said in verse 2. Give us verse 2. Chapter 1 verse 2. What did he write? Let's follow. Look here. Those who are dozing. Can we read that? Let's go. Okay, the word is futility. Let's go. Yes. Says the philosopher. Absolutely futile. Let's get someone read from Good News. The Good News is going to bring it clearer. Who has Good News to read for us? You're going to read it? Listen from Good News, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 2. It says, listen somebody. It is useless. Useless. Said the philosopher. Life is useless. All useless. You read it one more time. Somebody has not heard. Somebody listen. Sit upright and listen to this. It is useless. Very useless. Said the philosopher. Life is useless. All is useless. This man, remember, had power. Am I right? This man had money. Am I right? This man had wisdom. Am I right? But what did he say about life? Life is useless. Let's analyze life a little bit. To someone here, their pocket money is 50,000. To someone here, they use 50,000 per day. Reality of life. When I was in primary, I was with my brother, my young brother. Currently, he's in senior 6. He was in a lower level. I was in primary 7. My brother and I were given 5,000 for the whole term. Somebody may think we studied in 8 years. Not 8 years. 8 years is African Traditional Society. We are talking about some years back, not very far. My dad could come up to, from Gulu to Kampala. I studied in some school within Gayaza. He comes up to the school and he gives us 5,000 and he goes back. Please don't say what you're saying. He was wise, I know. He was wise, I believe that. But I also sat down one day, I said, now look at the distance. Why don't you just send the money? But he wanted to see the children, right? The 5,000, we could suffer with it a lot. We agreed with him. I was wise, primary 7 boy, very intelligent. So I sat down the whole night and planned, how am I going to use this money? 5,000 for the whole term. So I came up with this conclusion. Listen to how wise I am. We are going to eat 500 every Thursday. The other days, we shall stay without eating. Somebody say amen. Amen. I was very wise. And we use 500 every Thursday. I don't know how. But other days I used not to feel hungry. When it comes to Thursday, from the morning lesson, I'm already feeling hungry. And we were near, now it is called Gayaza Adventist Secondary School. Back then it was Katikamu SDA, Gayaza. There's a primary school, Highfield Primary, close to it. That's where I studied my primary. So my dad, after giving us that money, we could go and buy cassava from Katikamu, the Gayaza campus. So there are some days the lady gives us 5. There are days she feels happy, she gives us 6. She gives us 5. Of course, the young one has to eat 2. Me, I eat 3. If she gives us 6, still the young one eats 2.5, and I eat 3.5. I'm the elder brother. As we were using 500 per week, there was a person somewhere, there was a boy who used to buy anything, anytime, and I could see he had the money. Life is useless. Someone's salary is 1 million. I went to ask the price of a perfume. I wanted to smell important. I went with my 200,000. I said, I was starting smelling rich. I pointed, I said, now I think 200 can buy this one. I pointed how much. She told me 2.2. I said, I beg your pardon? 2,200,000. That's what someone pays just to smell good. To have a good scent, someone is paying 2.2 million. Just a perfume. And then there's someone who has worked all their life and they have never held 1 million in their hands. There's someone who has no degree, 0 study qualification, but they own vehicles. And then there's someone who has studied up to PhD and they don't have money. Life is useless. A very beautiful girl having everything, when she walks, everybody look at her and she ends up not married. And then there's you, you somewhere. For you, you look the way you look. And then you marry the richest guy around. And the rich man produces the most beautiful children. If I'm a man I'm ugly, you're also, and then our children are beautiful. I'll have to ask you questions. How did you get them? Life is useless. Someone struggles to understand in class. Someone understands before entering class. That is life. I teach chemistry. Sometimes I'm explaining I like chemistry of O level nowadays. It is mostly applied chemistry. They rarely teach the real chemistry. So me, I like my learners to understand the real chemistry. So sometimes I go out of my way to explain the real chemistry behind. After explaining it very well, somebody looks at me very well. And then have you understood? Someone opens their mouth. There's no yes, they're just there. You ask, from where didn't you understand? Teacher, you were teaching. Life is useless. What you're looking for, someone is misusing it. What you don't have, someone has in excess. There are people who have everything in life, but they don't have children. Then there's somebody who has very many children and they cannot take care of them. There's someone who has all the money, but they're always sick. There's someone who has no money, they're also very healthy. That is life. The philosopher, after testing every form of life, summarized and said in his first chapter that life is what? Useless. Those who have time, read that book. It is one of the best books in the Bible. I'm a book reader. I read books from the Bible. I read other books about development. If we get time in the afternoon, I'll give you a list of books you can read. But they teach about life. Rumors have it that there's some president in Africa whose child used to go and study abroad every day and comes back. By abroad, I'm not meaning leaving Uganda to go to Kenya, of which it happens. There are people who study in Kenya, they go to Kenya and study there for 1 week and come back every Friday. They are there in Uganda, the same Uganda you're living in. They fly them out every morning on Monday. The flight is around 1 hour from here to Nairobi. 1 hour, 30 minutes maximum. They fly them into Nairobi in the morning. The good thing with Nairobi, the airport is within